Spurs up, Carolina fans. This is Phil Harris here at the Ruckin Roosters Show. It's been a while, but we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Carolina fans, I'm excited to bring to you this special interview with a recent graduate from Carolina who played at Carolina, of course, in the rugby team. That's what this is all about on Gamecock YouTube here. I'm with Issac Ambs. How are you, Issac?
Doing well. How about you?
Excellent. Happy to be here. Let's get right into your background really quick. Where are you from? Oh, I think we've got some Wi-Fi issues here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes. Just asking. The first question would be, where are you from?
Maryland originally. Yeah, Westminster, Maryland. Smaller county in Maryland, more rural. But yeah, I grew up up there.
Gotcha. So what brought you to Carolina? What was the draw to come to Carolina?
So my brother, he gave me a piece of advice. He went to University of Nebraska. He told me, go out of state, go to school. So that's kind of what I did. I was just looking at all the big schools down south. I knew I wanted to go somewhere warmer, and so that was like some indication.
Sure.
So knew about the Gamecocks. I saw them actually play at CRC's back in, I think it was in Philadelphia at the time.
Yep.
Remember thinking New Jersey was pretty cool, so I applied here.
Yep.
And then they just ended up giving me the most money, so that made it an easy choice.
Yeah, that's always an easy choice for sure when they're giving you the most financial aid package of any school. But yeah, I was at all of those Philadelphia CRCs that Carolina made an appearance. They were really, really good back in those days when the CRC was in Philadelphia. The 7th team was out of this world, did very, very well for a couple of years there. And I'm sure that made an impression on not just you, but others out there that now have attended Carolina, which is kind of cool to think about. But what is your origin story with rugby? Did you play in high school at all?
I played since technically 6th grade, really started in 7th grade.
Wow.
My brother, he started playing with the high school team. He tried football, always kind of sports. He tried football, didn't like that much, and then friends invited him out to play rugby. And so he got me to play rugby. I started playing touch with the middle school team and hated it. I absolutely did not enjoy it that much. Well, coming up to the tackle team, I know you're young, a lot younger than all these guys who have high school teams. So I was like, all right, I'll come out. And then I think part of it, why I liked it so much at the beginning is because I was a little guy out there. And so like all the players were loved me. They were just like, anytime I got the ball, always cheering me on. So that was a big influence. And just once we got to the tackle aspect of it, I fell in love with it. And it's honestly sometimes hard for me to watch football at this point. I just love rugby so much. It's just such a beautiful sport.
I feel the same way, Issac. Like I'm not really, it's fine. I don't really watch the whole game of American football nowadays. But one thing that's kind of sucked me back into college football just a little bit is the NCAA 25. I've been playing that like it's going out of style, man. So it's kind of drawing me in just a little bit. But yeah, rugby is for me a much more better sport to watch for sure. What position did you play at Carolina?
Carolina, I played pretty much everything at one point. I was a bit of a B-side star for a little bit. Anytime I could play in them, I would play. So I'd play some of the A-side game, jump in with the B-side. So really everything got the back line. For the most of my time there, I played wing. Really enjoyed that, especially when they got to me. That was the best part. But
listen, utility backs are very, very high in demand. Anybody that can play a bunch of positions is always good. And I was B-side for life myself most of the time at Carolina. So, yeah, nothing wrong with that. B-side makes A-side better, as I always say. Let's talk about any individual or team accomplishments that you're really, really proud of at Carolina Rugby.
I think really, I mean, we've been successful in the 3 years,
Mhm.
as all of our followers know. And just being part of the team this past year, I kind of took a step back a little bit from it.
Mhm.
Uh, Active with the team, went to practices, but just didn't have kind of the financial ability to go to the game. Which was amazing. Got like very happy that I was able to go these past 3 years. Um, that first uh, that first win at the SEC tournament, um, playing Clemson. I just had a couple of nice runs versus Clemson, and then
Nice.
that last try, just passing it out to, I think it was Tom on the wing, and him scoring and us winning with like no time left. That was just one of the best experiences I've had, and especially beating Clemson and at such a big tournament and taking that championship back for South Carolina for the first time in a while. It was just that was amazing. And just that we were able to pass or carry that on for the next 2 years,
Mhm.
amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, those memories right there that you'll never ever forget, especially against a big rival like that. Being able to beat them and kind of pass the torch on to the next group of Carolina players and show them the way of how that we want this program to continue to get better. And part of that is just beating our rivals consistently. So it's very, very important that we were able to do that in recent years. What was your major at Carolina?
I was an environmental science major.
Oh, wow.
But
All right.
then I love the outdoors, love traveling and hiking and camping, just being outside. So I had to go into that while I was at school, and it was interesting. A lot at South Carolina, a lot of marine space. We don't have as big of an environmental science program, so I took a lot of marine
Mhm.
science classes. But the ones that I got to take, especially there's one we focused a lot on a country now, which is like 30 minutes down the road from Columbia, and
Yep.
it's just like it's a gem and it's amazing. And learning more of the history about it, more of the complexity of that environment is just awesome.
For sure. That's really cool. I took a natural history course there at Carolina. Obviously, it's a bit different than what you study, but it's in the same neighborhood. I really, really that class will always stay with me as we
Mm-hmm.
went down to Congaree National Park there and just had a great time. Just identifying the plants, the flora and fauna there. It's so much fun. And yeah, South Carolina has natural beauty galore. So it's kind of cool to get
Yeah.
out from the campus and being able to be in nature. It's awesome. Are you
Mm-hmm.
going to be at With You weekend this year? Can we expect you at the
I should
alumni game?
I should be there. Yeah, I'm excited to
Awesome.
come up. I'm coming up next weekend actually.
Okay.
I'll be up there, not this upcoming weekend, next weekend,
Hmm.
and then coming up for alumni weekend too. So it'll
Love
be
to
good to
hear
see
it.
all the boys out there.
Very good. I wanted to remind everybody that With You Weekend is October the 11th and the 12th this year. Head on over to uscrugby.net/events to check out the schedule and also reserve your room now for the hotel. We've got a group rate for the hotel. So, yeah, if you want to be involved in that, if you haven't been around in a while, or maybe you're coming every single year in the past couple of years, we definitely want to see you regardless. So, make sure you check out With You Weekend this year, all the folks watching this. Let's move on to let's talk about your faith journey and how Carolina Rugby kind of nudged that along and encouraged that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I would say probably my first 2 years of college, I wasn't really didn't take my faith seriously, didn't really practice that much. I
Hmm.
had a couple of friends who really brought me back to faith and started bringing me out to Bible study and helping me to make that a bigger part of my life. But then with the rugby team, with Coach Roberts being on the team, uh,
Hmm.
him kind of just seeing his like living example, I would say, of the faith as well.
Hmm.
Uh, like praying before games, it encouraged us to do it as well. Like he would always lead the prayer during games, and then a couple of the guys stepped up and started to lead our own little prayer before seven games.
Hmm.
Because those you don't have as much time before games, so we would just do a little circle and all together, and just being around other people who are living the faith and it's part of yourself. So having other people around you who are pushing you in it, I think is a great quality. And we just have so many good guys out there on the team. So many guys who put the faith first and make it a big part of their lives. So it's just a great thing to see. And I think it's I was I'd like to think I was a good player, but definitely like wasn't the best. So I think a leadership position that I had, just leading that Bible study for the rugby team last year, being able to lead guys in the faith like that, that was probably one of my biggest accomplishments with the rugby team, is just being able to do that for those guys. I thought it was great. A lot of guys coming on. It was just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a spiritual component within Carolina rugby. What things would the players do to uplift each other and others? Was it involving like the Bible study, that type of stuff?
I mean, before games with our coach, and then with the players, and also just like ever since he came into the organization, I was like really pushed enthusiasm at practice and lifting the guys up around you, encouraging them, making these hits when they're making good plays, like not just like you're talking to your friends at practice, but actually like watching and observing the other guys around you, and encouraging them better. I think was a big thing. Like whether that be like running with the last guy in the Bronco, or running laps with them, encouraging them when they make a big hit. It's all of that stuff as well. And then outside, it's just the virtue of these guys. Like talking to some of these guys, they're just like better men than me, honestly. And to see those qualities in them, seeing that the areas that I need to grow, I think is such a big thing.
That's great. I mean, rugby is a very, very difficult and challenging sport, right? The physical, the mental aspect of it as well, it's very, very challenging. So to have that in your corner as well, it's very, very important, I'm sure, for the entire team and each individual that has this faith and stuff like that. I mean, just look at the island nations that play rugby. Those guys literally have their faith on their sleeves. Like anytime they're taping themselves up, they're putting crosses on themselves and stuff like that. So, I mean, it is definitely a part of rugby culture for sure. What are you up to nowadays?
So I am a missionary with an organization called Focus. It's the Fellowship of Catholic Universities. They posted me up at University of Louisiana, so the Raging Cajuns down in Lafayette. So nice. Even farther away from home than South Carolina, but it's been out here. And then actually, because of my history with the rugby team, they made me varsity outreach teams on campus. So it actually just came from a Bible study with some track guys. They don't have football practice as much as I can to try to meet some of those guys and get them Bible study started for them as well. And rugby team as well. Rugby teams out here, like many programs, was kind of crippled by COVID. And the same. If it wasn't for John Golden, shout out to him. So they didn't have a guy like that to keep the program good. So they said, like, coming back from COVID, they had 2 guys that came out to practice.
Wow.
And so they're still in the process of rebuilding down here. So they're just playing friendly games all this year. So they're allowing me, even not as a student, to play with them. So it's a fun time this year. And so that's something to look forward to.
Absolutely. So, it's very, very cool to, hear that you're continuing on beyond, Carolina and doing something that you're very, very passionate about, obviously. Let's talk really quickly before we get out of here. What was your experience like being coached by John Roberts? You talked about, how he leads by example and things like that. And that kind of rubbed off on you in terms of the faith aspect, but just what overall experience about being coached by him?
I think it's something I've talked to him about too. I think he really tries to build up men. Like it's not just coaching; it's building up individuals. I think we've seen that. We've had great guys come out of the rugby team here. John Golden, Dan, mates that I live with. I can't go through a list of all of them, but just like amazing guys. And I think it's the leadership he has, the virtue he instills in his men, the fellowship he instills in the team, and then just coaching. I think he does a great job of. He's the forwards coach, so as a back, I didn't work with him as much, but just as the head coach, just bringing in guys around him to help build up the program as well, bringing in Coach who are just amazing coaches as well. And really instilling a work ethic, I think, into our team. I think has been an amazing thing that he's done. I think more than anything, he has made the program official. I just, I mean, we felt like a ragtag group of guys, and now they're bringing all these other people in and just organizing all these all the alumni. It's absolutely simple to do with the program, and it's really, he's done just amazing work with the team.
Listen, I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, it's so great that John Roberts has returned to Carolina, where he played as a young man to coach this team. And ever since he arrived, I mean, the trajectory of this program is just going up, up, and up. So final thing here, Issac, I appreciate your time. You've been very generous with your time, but there might be a high school student watching this live, or in the future, maybe an international or transfer recruit out there watching this. What would you tell them ultimately about coming to Carolina, and more importantly, playing rugby as a Gamecock?
Yeah, I know you want to come to Carolina. Beautiful city, beautiful state. Beyond just like the rugby aspect, it's an amazing school. Look forward to going back to Columbia for a little bit. But specifically the rugby team, I mean, we do it's a family. Like, you got all the guys I lived with, rugby guys for the past 2 years, and some of my closest friends are on the rugby team, and you grow close to these guys. You love these guys. I mean, talking about what you talked about earlier with like how brutal of a sport rugby can be, it really bonds you guys together on that field. When you play with these guys for that long, you really get to know them, not just in practice, but outside of practice. Like, the Carolina rugby team has such a social aspect of it. It's like, we don't just go to practice and play rugby together.
Right.
We're hanging out with each other every day of the week. They're doing something every day of the week, whether it's village on Thursday, all our stuff on Saturdays and Sundays, and it's just, there's always something going on. And I know there are always people that I can rely on too. It's like the program is just absolutely amazing.
Listen,
leadership out there too.
I couldn't agree more with what you're saying there. And I always told, back in my day, I always told the guys that I taught rugby prior to college. Like, I found it in high school. So some of my neighborhood friends, I taught them how to play. And when they were going off to college, I suggested to them, like, join the rugby team. You guys already know how to play, and you'll have at least 14 best friends, right? Like, immediately going to a new place that you're not familiar with. So there's definitely that brotherhood aspect, that family aspect of Carolina rugby that's very, very strong. I agree 1,000%. Issac, this has been fantastic, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time. And we're going to say 2 words before we exit the video in 3, 2, 1. Spurs up, baby. Woo! Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
You as well. Bye.